All right, let's dive into something that literally runs through the heart of our civilization, our planet's most essential resources. We're going to explore how the struggle for land and water could either push us toward devastating conflicts or pave the way for some incredible cooperation. So, let's get into it.
It really all boils down to this: land and water. I mean, think about it. They're the absolute bedrock of our farms, the engine for our industries, and, the very foundation of life itself. Everything we make, everything we eat, it all comes back to these two things. For thousands of years, they've been the reason empires could rise, cultures could blossom, and humanity could, flourish. They are the ultimate source of life. But what happens when they start running out? Well, that's the scary part. That scarcity can flip the script, turning these life-giving resources into the very thing that sparks conflict. And that's the central question we're tackling today. As the pressure builds, is our shared need for land and water going to pull us together, or is it going to tear us apart? To really get a feel for how urgent this is, let's just look at one number: 50%. And trust me, this isn't just some random statistic, it's a forecast that has a direct impact on half of the people on this planet.
And yeah, that's the hard reality according to the World Health Organization. By 2025, which, let's be honest, is basically now, half of us will be living in places that are struggling with water scarcity. This isn't some problem for our grandkids to solve. It's right here, right now. And it's what sets the stage for something experts call a vicious cycle. So, this brings us to a really crucial idea. See, when resources get tight, it doesn't just mean a few people go thirsty. It can kick off this really dangerous downward spiral of instability and, yes, even violence.
You've got to understand this concept they call a threat multiplier. Resource scarcity, as you see here, it doesn't usually just create a war out of thin air. Instead, it's like pouring gasoline on an already smoldering fire. It takes existing political or social tensions and just cranks up the heat, making everything way more dangerous. And look, this isn't some far-off theory. It is happening right now in some of the most sensitive places on Earth. In South Asia, who controls the Indus River is deeply tangled up in the long-running Kashmir dispute. In Africa, Egypt gets nearly all its fresh water from the Nile, which puts it in a tense standoff with Ethiopia over its huge new dam. And the fact that Lake Chad is literally shrinking is fueling a terrible cycle of conflict in that region.
So here's how this dangerous spiral actually works. It's a feedback loop from hell, really. It starts with scarcity, which naturally leads to tension. That tension boils over into conflict. Now, conflict weakens governments, so they can't manage their resources properly. That failure makes the scarcity even worse, and boom, the cycle starts all over again, but stronger this time. It is a trap.
The stakes here are just incredibly high. As the former president of Uzbekistan warned all the way back in 2012, we're not just talking about arguments, we're talking about the very real possibility of actual wars over water. But it doesn't have to be this way.
But, and this is a huge but, that vicious cycle isn't the only option. A shared problem can actually become a shared solution. It can kick off what we call a virtuous cycle of cooperation.
This slide just lays it out perfectly, right? You've got two completely different paths. On one side, you have the conflicts over the Nile and Indus, where countries act alone and tensions just keep rising. But on the other side, you've got the Parana River, where a two-nation agreement led to shared power and benefits for everyone. So the question is, how did they pull that off?
Well, the Itaipu Dam is a fantastic example. Brazil and Paraguay were on the brink of a nasty border dispute. So instead of fighting over the land, they did something kind of radical. They agreed to flood it and build a gigantic hydroelectric dam together. Now, this jointly run dam provides a massive amount of power to both countries. It literally turned a source of conflict into a source of shared wealth.
And this kind of forward thinking isn't just about treaties and dams. It's also about some seriously cool innovation, finding smarter, better ways to manage the resources we all depend on.
Just look at farming. Precision livestock farming sounds super technical, but it's really about using tech to be way, way smarter. We're talking about things like tiny RFID tags to keep an eye on each animal's health, GPS to make sure they're grazing in the best spots, and even virtual fences that use sounds to guide the herd. It's all about doing more with less.
Or how about this? Hydroponics. The basic idea is you grow plants without any soil at all, just in nutrient-packed water. And get this, a hydroponic greenhouse can produce about 10 times more food than a regular field of the same size. For places with not a lot of land or water, this is a total game changer. And innovation isn't always about futuristic tech. Sometimes it's about looking at nature differently. Check out this number, plus 165%.
So what's that? That's the explosion in the production of forest nuts. It's proof that we can build strong economies without destroying our ecosystems. By sustainably harvesting products that our forests give us, we can create jobs and protect the environment at the same time. It's a win-win.
And all of this really brings us right back to where we started. We're at a crossroads. The pressure on our planet's land and water is only going to get more intense, and how we decide to handle it, well, that's going to define our future.
So, it all comes down to this one final question. Are these shared resources going to be a source of endless conflict, pushing us into that vicious cycle, or will we see them as a reason to cooperate, to innovate, and to build a better future together? The fate of our very thirsty planet really does hang on that answer.